Hello and welcome back to the Spinnin Backfist MMA show for UFC 273 Volkanovsky versus the Korean Zombie. It is Robbie Fox, it is Big Ev, it is JackMac. I'm here kind of playing a flu game right now. I think I literally have the flu, the WrestleMania flu. I'm out, Brendan Walker's out. Kind of feel like death, but this card I'm very excited about.
Probably the biggest card of the year so far.
Yeah.
I would say top in terms of when you think two title fights, like in two big divisions title fights, and then probably like the biggest question mark / rising star in the sport. Basically
True.
getting tested, how good is he? To me, I think it's the biggest, at least those top three, I think is the biggest.
And then you have
three fights that we've had this year.
And then you have a future or a current superstar in Garry that we interviewed on the fight. Mackenzie Dern's on it. I mean, she's a massive name, of course.
Yep.
I mean, you even have an Olynyk who's like the fourth fight. Rosenstrike, who was at one point people thought could be a heavyweight champ. I mean, it's a loaded card.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great. It will be. We'll get to the lines because a lot of them are wide, but it'll be an awesome Saturday for sure. It's gonna be a great Saturday. Shout out to Mincy.
Shout out, Mincy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great
another
Saturday.
thing you mentioned there, Ian Garry will be on the show later. We did an interview with him earlier in the week, right before he took off for Fight Week, and it was an awesome interview. He's a great guy, a very funny interview. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna do two quick headlines and then get into it. The first headline: Juliana Pena did an interview where she said Ronda Rousey is kind of a joke in the MMA world, and she said that Kayla Harrison will spend the rest of her career fighting tomato cans. I think a couple things here. The way she markets herself and calls people out like she's a wrestler, awesome. Like she was doing it for years before she was even the champ, calling out Amanda Nunes, like trying to get her name out there. So I respect that as a Ronda Rousey fan myself. And not necessarily like now, Ronda Rousey does a lot of cringeworthy things, but when she was on the rise, I was such a big Ronda fan. So to see people trash her like this now is a bit of a shame. Like, come on, she did break those doors down.
For sure, she kicked the door down. I just see it's just great with Pena, like where she's been trying to do this, the whole like cutting promos thing for a while. But when you're the champ, they fucking hit. Like now they're really making headlines for real because now they're taken seriously. And
there's got to be a part of her that's like, yeah, I would love to lure Ronda Rousey into a fight with me.
I think we forget how big Ronda was.
Oh, no,
I know, and I'm not saying you guys, more so like I think I forget sometimes. I was just thinking about it. She rose to like become a movie superstar in action thrillers fame from being a UFC fighter when that wasn't really a thing. Like, I mean, obviously Brock was Brock, but before that, she was it. And especially, I mean, the women's, I don't know the exact year women's divisions were introduced to the UFC, but she advanced that game so far. I saw someone saying that she did more than McGregor. I disagree with that, but she is it's McGregor and Rousey, at least for me, in terms of, like big names, not GOATs, but just the big names that brought UFC to that next level.
I mean, she just had like such a pop. Like it's crazy to think like, I mean, that when she was hot, like it's crazy to think now, like obviously like it's kind of tough because I think her skills inside the cage got exposed like pretty badly.
Yeah. And
that's what kind of leaves the sour taste in people's mouth. But I mean, think about how crazy it was. Like when obviously like when she fought Holly Holm, like she was minus over 1,000, which it's funny what you watch the fight and it literally should have been, the line should have been reversed.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about. Like they were just that off. But I mean, there was a point that I think like I thought at that time that no one on planet Earth could beat her in a fight.
Well, people were talking.
Any woman, I mean, at least.
Yeah. Well, people were talking about like people that didn't understand fighting, but that was me back in the day. It was like, oh, she could probably beat some guys. I mean, she could.
Mayweather, people were saying, she was
that was
like
big.
calling
Yes,
Mayweather out on the red carpet.
Yeah,
I remember. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, she was and even still in WWE, she's great. But I mean, I know wrestling fans debate that, but she was massive. Massive. Like probably one of the most famous athletes in the world at the time.
For sure.
Yeah.
And she had brains broken. We were kind of talking before we started recording, like what we think of Hamzat. And we're like, he was saying he could beat Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman in one night. Could he do that? Maybe. Could he? Like Ronda Rousey, people were literally saying about Floyd Mayweather, like, I don't know, bro. If she gets a hold of him, judo throw, he's done.
But
it's so true because I really there was a point in my life that I was debating that in my own brain.
And
I was an idiot, but that's just the truth.
And it does go to show, like, credit to, and I think Dana White doesn't get enough credit for this, elevating female fighters on the roster, and he still does it today. But it started with Ronda, and we talk. I'm probably being from Connecticut, women's sports, UConn women's basketball is so massive there, but in other parts of the country, it's not really as big. And UFC really, and Dana White believed in it and pushed it before it became like, now it's kind of a cool thing to do. But before that, like, Dana was doing that in like 2010, even before that. So I think Dana should get more credit. I mean, he had Ronda Rousey headlining pay-per-views in 2010. Like, I mean, that's look at boxing. This is like the first pay-per-view in a while, like, ever headlined at Madison Square Garden with women. It took them 12 extra years.
It's crazy.
I mean, that's what I was gonna say. She pretty much is like was the first MMA like pay-per-view star, and like, I mean, no one's even come close since her.
Yeah.
In terms of like just pure pay-per-view stardom.
No, not even close. When did Ronda make her UFC debut?
Probably 2010, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
2011.
But even back then, I wasn't a big UFC fan.
More recent.
People knew Ronda Rousey. Like, even if you knew nothing.
2012.
She made her UFC debut. I was gonna say, I feel like it was even later than that. Yeah.
I'll still just never forget the Holly Holm night.
Speaking of Hamzat,
that's like a remember where you were kind of moment.
November 14th. I remember the date. It was like unforgettable.
I was at just like the local watering hole dive bar with my boys in Goshen, New York. Never forget it. All just absolutely stunned.
I remember where I was. I mean, this is much more recent, but when Anthony Joshua lost to Ortiz, I mean, it was in New York City when he lost, but like, I remember seeing my phone like, oh, he lost. Speaking of Hamzat,
Fat boys.
Speaking of Hamzat,
for one day.
Did you guys see that clip of
best boxer on planet Earth?
Did you see Brian Stan talking about Hamzat in 2017?
We talked about this.
It's crazy to think literally gassing him up before he had ever fought.
2017.
It was before he had ever fought a professional MMA fight.
And they were saying, like, just in when he was training, it was like, this guy's unbelievable.
I said he must have just been like giving Gustafsson like work, like serious work.
Did you see the quote about why he got into MMA? Him saying he saw McGregor knock Jose Aldo out in 13 seconds, and he was like, I'm bigger than this guy. I'm stronger than this guy. If I ran into this guy on the street, I would destroy him. Why can't I do this? And apparently that's why he got into MMA.
He might be right.
He literally, he was right, but imagine that mindset, like watching one of the craziest, talk about stunning upsets in MMA, the 13-second knockout by McGregor, and then thinking like, what a pussy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you get the Terminator mentality. That's the kind of mentality that says, I could beat Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman in one night. Throw us on the same card. Throw Edwards on there first. It's a given. And then I'll save my energy for Kamaru Usman after.
Do you see what he said about Colby?
No.
He said if Dana White booked the Hamzat Chimaev Colby Covington card, Dana White would be put in jail. Because he would kill Colby Covington.
He would beat him so bad that Colby would call the cops on him after.
Cops on him, and then he said he's a bitch. So, I mean, Hamzat, it's Sweden. He probably learned English in Sweden a little bit, but he's
Chechnyan. He's from Chechnya.
But then he probably speaks three languages now: Chechen, Swedish, and English. But he's good on the mic. Like, he's getting much better, and that's something that's lost with a lot of fighters, especially that are from that area, Chechnya and whatnot. But he's calling Colby Covington a bitch. Like, that's how you get on people's radar.
I think with him too, it just comes up like when he says shit, you can just see in his eyes he means it.
Oh yeah,
like I genuinely think he believes in his heart that if you put him versus Leon Edwards and him versus Kamaru Usman on one card, he would beat both of them. I think in his brain and his heart, he genuinely believes that.
I would love to see Dana. He wouldn't let it happen with those two people, but at least let him fight two people on one card and sell a pay-per-view around that, because who knows? They booked 2 fights for this guy in a row. Literally, they were like, hey, he's going to beat this fucking guy, so let's book him another fight while we're here. And I don't know, maybe we could push that boundary down. A new like BMF title.
Doing like a West Virginia like old tough man competition with like real fighters.
Would commissions allow that?
I feel like they want it.
I know in Thailand and
because like what would happen if he just like lost the first fight? Like what I'm saying, I don't think like Leonidas would knock it, but I'm saying imagine like what if in this crazy world he just got like knocked out. obviously,
Yeah, no, it would have
he
to
can't
be.
fight
You would
again
have to have
after.
a stipulation that he would have to win the first fight to have the next.
I think he'd
fight.
have to win it, but also in a world he'd have to not take like a certain amount of damage.
Yeah, which we've seen from him, he can do.
He doesn't take any. He's never taken any damage in his life.
No,
In his
None.
at least in his MMA career.
Yeah. There were.
He I mean, even this.
He was
like,
minus
even them
300 against what's his name, John Phillips.
I think it was even more than that. Yeah, John Phillips. That was his first.
That should have
UFC
been
fight.
minus 1 million.
Every fight he's been in the UFC should have been minus 1 million.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Leach was a ranked guy. He was literally picking him up in midair and talking to Dana White. Like
Just
that's
insane.
like shit you do to like your little brother.
He
Yeah.
did look like a little brother when he picked him up.
And he had him on the ground in seconds.
Shout out to Burns for wanting to fight him, though. I mean, I guess
Yeah,
that's
Burns
the
a
only-
legend. I respect it
And I bet Burns really thinks he's gonna win.
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you
think
have
Burns
to. You
could
can't
put
come
up a
into a
great
fight thinking you're gonna lose.
That's it. Yeah.
Another headline: Miranda Maverick called out Meatball Molly McCann. This is interesting. Now, when we sign people, you call out Meatball Molly, you call out Patty, you kind of call out us.
They want the clout.
Yeah.
They want to steal that clout. It's kind of the same thing we just talked about. Like Gilbert facing Chimaev. It's like all that hype behind Chimaev. You beat him. Now that hype's in your back pocket. You just stole it. It's yours.
That's
And
gonna be a
Brandley,
good fight.
I mean,
though.
and also, I feel like if you fight Kamaru Usman, at that point, you're like, yeah, I'll fight this fucking up and coming
for
rising
sure.
star. Like, what is he gonna do to me that Usman did?
I guess we might find out.
yeah.
I
don't know.
Yeah, that clip might be played back on Sunday morning as an
Like,
old.
what can he do
exposed.
to him that and then just Burns like laid out like
in the back
Molly
of a
McCann's
hospital with
opponent was?
the oxygen or something? You know, knock on wood. I don't want injuries.
No,
but
I like
yeah.
Gilbert Burns a lot. We'll get into the fights. I think he's in trouble.
But the Miranda Maverick Molly McCann fight, that'll be a good fight. It'll be a good measuring stick to see where both fighters are. Obviously, we'll be cheering and picking Molly to win, but Miranda's not a bad fighter at all. I think she's a big girl, but they kind of have like similar builds and kind of fighting styles. So it'll be is it announced where it'll
Both
be in
short
America?
girls. I don't think
Well,
it's
no, I think
announced.
she
I
just
think
called her
Miranda
out.
just called her out.
She just wants to fight. her.
Oh, okay, awesome. I
I
misinterpreted
think
her
Molly's
Instagram
not
post.
thinking about that for a bit.
Yeah,
All right.
I think it would be a brawl for sure, which the people will appreciate.
It'll be a brawl.
It will
for sure,
be
yeah.
funny, like in the future when Molly and Patty will fight Americans, and you just see like the entire Barstool office decked out in like the Liverpool shit, like English flags, rooting
That
for
is
the
true, yeah.
the fellows across the pond.
I love it. She's just electric. I'm
yeah.
so glad that the way like Dave obviously tweeted like during the fight, like if she just wins, I'm gonna sign her. That's like the deal with the devil. She lands
Yeah.
like KO nominee of the year.
Truly.
Like,
And I
moments
think I said
later.
on the show, maybe on the recap show, he like texted me and was like, "Yeah, that was some move by me, just immediately negotiating against myself by saying I needed her."
Yeah.
But she loved it. We got the deal done, and she's going to be in New York at the end of the month. I think she'll probably be at that Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano fight. I don't even know if that's why she's here. I would imagine. I mean, she's going to be here like 2 days before it, so why not?
Yeah, that will.
But she'll definitely be in the office. We'll get an interview with her. We'll have her on Spinnin' Backfist.
That'll be awesome.
I'm excited. I'm excited to meet her in person. She's a legend.
Yeah, absolute legend. Speaking of legends, future legends, the future Ian Garry. He will be our next guest coming at you right now.
All right, welcome back to the show. We are now here with the future, Ian Garry, ahead of his fight at UFC 273 this Saturday. Ian, how you feeling?
No, mate, it's fight week. Today's the day where shit starts to kind of get groovy inside. Everything starts to go. And it's just, yeah, I'm buzzing now. We leave tomorrow. We're going to drive to Jacksonville tomorrow. And it's just, today's the excitement. Today is when it's like, shit, I get to go to the hotel tomorrow. I get to chat shit. I get to do my thing. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm buzzing.
Do you like staying in the hotel fight week?
I love the energy around, like, being ready for a fight, being in a fight or a hotel. And, like, you kind of see people and they try to act cool and they try to act tough and all this fucking fake persona. I'm like, I just go in and take the piss. I'm like, just do what I do every single day. Just piss people off and try to be as loud as I possibly can and have fun.
You gonna throw a hand sanitizer bottle at anybody or no?
No, mate, I might bring an air horn for the crack. Go for the crack, knock on people's door and just blast it in their face. But yeah, I know I ain't taking the piss out of anyone in regards to like trying to start fights. People want to talk shit, they want to get into it. I'm game. I've always been game to chat shit, but I'm not the type of person to get aggressive or to start fights. Never been a fight outside a cage in my life. So
Never.
look, never been never had a fight. I've stopped fights. I've got involved in fights and stopped them, but I've never been in one. So yeah.
If someone tried to mess with you, let's say you're out at the bar, someone tries to mess with you, they hear you're a fighter, are you trying to like knock them out real quick, or if you had to, submit them real quickly, kind of subdue the situation?
So people ask me this, and it's the best thing. Firstly, I won't be at a bar because I don't drink anymore. I done that when I was younger. I'm an elite athlete now.
Nice.
So everything's done the right way. Do you know what I mean? I want to be a fucking world champion. I ain't going out and stuffing my face with fucking shit and drinking alcohol and all that. I'm trying to be the best me I can be. But I've always said this. If I was to fucking be in a situation where people are drunk and they've got a bit of fucking something in them that makes them feel like they can take me on, teep straight to the fucking straight to the stomach and watch me get sick everywhere. Right in front of you, and then be like, fuck you. Look at all of his friends and be like, no, fuck off.
Right to the solar plexus.
Yeah. Is a bad body shot like the worst shot you could take in MMA?
A bad body shot?
Yeah.
So like this, obviously, oh God. We can go into so much detail here, right? Because if I clip you in the chin, it's night, right? You don't have a choice, right? But there's just that feeling of like being winded, of like when like you land and some like it just stops. That feeling is so uncomfortable in every way, shape, and form. Like we've all had it as a kid.
Yeah.
And you get scared, and everyone's like, I can't breathe. We've all had it. That feeling is so uncomfortable, and it's just horseshit. No one wants to be a part of that. No one wants any of that. But I don't know, mate. If you're asking the worst shot in MMA, it's going to be the one that puts you out.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
So so obviously you're 170 or rise now. There's another huge fight on this card, obviously in the 170 division. Are you someone who are you focused on the guys like at the top? Like, do you like pay extra attention to like the Usmans, like Covington, like Burns, Chimaev guys? Or are you just like locked in on what you're doing? Like, are you looking ahead to that? Or are you
in regards to like fights down the line or watching what they do now?
I would say both.
I obviously watch.
Both, yeah.
I watch all their fights. You know what I mean? I mean, it'd be stupid not to watch the elite top 15, let's say, even though there's so much more out there. But like anyone in the top 15, you should be paying attention to, watching, because if you are in my mindset, which is to be the best in the world, I know that potentially out of that top 15, ideally I'd like to have at least 5 of them. Do you know what I mean? On my rise up, I don't want to be fight number 11, fight number 6, and then fight for the title. I've said this, I want a slow progression, so I want to beat them all. And I don't want to ever come up against, I don't want anyone ever saying I've not fought a specific style of fighting. I want a wrestler, I want a grappler, I want a striker, I want someone who's going to be in wars, I want someone who's going to push the pace with cardio and doesn't stop. I want it all. So I have to pay attention. I have to pay attention to see what works, what they do. And it's like, I don't look at them as opponents. I just sit back and enjoy as a fight fan. Do you know what I mean? I love watching fights. I love sitting there and doing what you do, just enjoying the moment. That's what it's about. And then obviously, like, being surrounded by the elite level talent in Sanford MMA is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, on a daily basis, you've got like the best guys in the world in different divisions here, and it's phenomenal. So I'm surrounded with elite world-class athletes and elite world-class coaches, and I'm just going to thrive off that.
How's that transition been to Sanford MMA? You've been there for what, like close to a year now?
I came here in August. I came here in August, and I had a 2-week trial period and see if everything worked with the gym, see what Henry and if me and the guys in the gym got along. Obviously, I'm still here, so everything was good. But the first camp wasn't great in a sense of like everything I wanted. It was me getting to know all the coaches, me getting to know all the lads, me trying to find the groove, find the style. Like the first month was fucking horrible because the heat, the training, the intensity. I've never been on a mat with this many good guys. You know what I mean? Like my former team, I was the biggest guy. I was the most experienced guy on the mat. Whereas now I'm way down the line when it comes to experience. I'm way down, like you've got people like fucking Robbie Lawler here on a daily basis who's had like the guts of 40 fights. You know what I mean? He's been just like people like that. So I get a lot of attention because I fucking work my ass off, right? Now, and we've started to change things. We started to mold my style to the way my coach, like Henry and Jason, want me to start changing my striking style and my stance. I've been working with the guys doing jiu-jitsu and Greg Jones at wrestling, trying to like just move my feet, be faster, and do all these little adaptations to make my game better. And that first camp wasn't anywhere near as good as this camp has been, because it's like, right, I found my groove, I found what works, I found the biggest challenge was actually finding the schedule that works for me. So what I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what way it works. Because I was coming here and no shit, lads, by Wednesday morning, I was ready to fucking just stay in bed until Monday. I'm like, fuck this. I'm not getting up. I'm done. After a hard wrestling session, I'm like, fuck this. I'm done. I'm going to stay at home. Whereas now I've changed it all around. I'm like, I can't do 2 and 3 a day after this shit. It's too hard. So I figured it out. I've been on it. I've been right. Everything's fucking flowed beautifully. And we're ready to go in there and fucking kick ass and look good.
Unreal. That has to be a good experience for a fighter, just to go from, like you said, being the big fish in quote-unquote small pond to the opposite, and now getting that experience, getting the different styles, the coach. That's awesome, and you're having fun with it, clearly. I saw you guys did, like, the most intense game of hide-and-seek of all time. They just posted that.
Yeah. That was good shit. We're gonna drop some more stuff. I think it's funny. It's like, with team, like, I like team shit. Like, I want everyone to have a good time, and, like, well, I know everyone's busy, everyone's got family, everyone's got other shit in life, but like, we can all sit down and have a little fucking meal every now and then. We can all sit down and play a fucking game and have a bit of banter. And that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? We're in here every day punching each other and kicking each other in the fucking mouth. Do you know what I mean? Trying to submit each other, trying to fucking not hurt each other, but push ourselves. Let's go get some food. Let's fucking play a game of hide and seek. Next, I want to do overly aggressive dodgeball. Next. Like, I want it to be like those proper like thick red balls, and I want like slow motion camera shots of someone getting pelted in the fucking mouth. But yeah, it's been awesome. This just everything about here is brilliant. And back to your quote on saying like big fish into a small pond, I'm still a fucking big fish, right? I'm still a big fish, just in a bigger pond, and I'm just trying to get bigger, right? That's the whole thing. I'm just slowly getting there.
Still a big fish. Is that new ink on your hand right there, that heart?
I got this for my wedding, yeah.
I figured you did. Is that the set? You got oh my God. How many tattoos for the wife now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was 5 in total. Yeah, 5 in total.
Five tattoos for the wife. You guys are becoming like the MGK Megan Fox of MMA or something with getting tattoos for each other.
Yeah, you should go on her Instagram and check her tits out. That's where she's got hers, right in the middle of her tits.
Fair enough.
If you insist.
People will.
Yeah. We'll go.
I'm sure people are going to go check it out.
And that is the clip that goes on Instagram with the picture, and that's what gets the click. Right?
That's definitely
That's the one that gets it. Yeah.
That's clickbait. That's clickbait.
100%. It ain't clickbait because it's right. It's just look at her tits. But yeah, no, it's dude, I have no problem. Like, I fucking love the tattoos I have. Actually, shit, 1, 2, 5 tattoos.
No, I think they're
I want
sick
more.
too. Yeah,
I'm not done. I'm
with you. I'm with you.
Yeah,
you got a Beatles tattoo, right? Too. You got Imagine.
Yeah. I've got Be Patient, Imagine. I got Imagine for my granddad.
Yeah, there's a great video with that.
Yeah. So I got that for him, and then I got Be Patient for my nana because I'm obviously massively ADHD and can't stop talking for 4 seconds or moving or jumping or being loud or doing anything. So every day that I've been with my nana, I can't remember a day where she's gone, Ian, and I'm like, okay, don't say it again. She's like, you can be. I know I can be patient. Yeah, I can't be. That's the fucking problem. I want it now. Like, don't tell me. That was always my problem. Like, being patient. Just fucking go.
Do you hear that in the cage? Do you hear that voice in the cage? Like, be patient when you're like about to unload the gas tank or something?
Well, if we're fighting, for me, like, patience just comes naturally. Like, the kill shot is going to inevitably present itself. And when it does, then I'll take it. It's like, I was only speaking today with my wife about getting like a new pair of gloves with like some stitching on it. And I'd love to get like, you always see people, they get like for me, it would be like Ian Garry or the Future or whatever it is. I'm like, nah, I want like, like piss off on one hand and be like, get the fuck out of here. Am I right? Get the fuck out of here. Like, like I don't want, like it's just, it's always the way I've been. It's like, I just have an energy, and being patient is hard for me. But when I fight in a cage, it's like, it just comes so naturally, so smooth. And it's just wait, just piss someone off, just and have someone go, fuck off, and then boom.
That's what we saw at MSG, right?
Yeah, just look, overcome a little bit of adversity, get the win, knock someone out, and at the end of the day, he didn't get to get out of there after 5 minutes, so yeah, he was put to sleep. And that's just going to keep happening. And every time I fight, people are going to be like, oh, I can beat this guy, this holds, I can do this. You can do fuck all. So you think you can do it. You think you can do it. But like when I stand across from someone at the weigh-ins, I'm like, this is the guy. This is the guy that's going to try to beat me. Seriously, come on. Fuck, like this isn't how it's meant to be. Like, it's just going to keep being that. Every single time I fight, people are going to be like, oh, well, he can find his hold. Show me the fucking hole in my game. Bring me there. If this guy's a wrestler, take me to wrestling. See what happens. See, can you hold me down? See, can you get anything off? Because you fucking won't. It's just how it is. It's like there's a lot of people who can talk the talk and walk the walk. I've consistently done it, right? And every time I've said it, I've been right. And this is nothing different. Is the guy going to be good? Yeah. Is the guy going to be an elite level athlete? Yeah. Is he going to be strong? Yeah. Is he going to be fit? Yeah. Is he going to be walking out of there the same person he went in? No, because I'm going to knock his ass out.
It's a fact. I mean, we saw even the questions about, is the camp change going to work? Yep, it worked. Is the fight on short notice where you barely had a corner, is that going to work? Yep, you got through that as well.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I said this in an interview recently. Someone asked me, what is the most important aspect or the most important tool a fighter can have, right? And I feel like my answer is probably the best answer out there because, I have a massive ego. But I said, like, being able to adapt, like having the skill of adaptation, like being able to adapt to different skill sets, different styles, different venues, different change. Like if tomorrow they ring me and go, Ian, your opponent's pulled out, he's sick, he's got COVID, I don't know what it is, or he's just shot the bed. And they go, right, we're going to give you someone else. It's a completely different style, completely thing. That's great, because guess what I've not done? I've not looked at the guy and planned to fight for him. All I've done is to do me.
Yeah.
But being able to adapt and go, yeah, fine, cool, sweet. I haven't trained to beat this guy. I'm just going in there to do what I do best, and that's win. I'm not a fighter. I'm a competitor. And unfortunately for everyone else, they just have to be on the other side of me winning. And that's what I've always done my entire career. It's what I'm going to keep doing. So every time I step into an octagon or I get into a fighter hotel, I have that that feeling that just runs through my blood. It's destiny. Winning is in me. I can't stop it. I'm not a fighter, I'm a competitor. And this is just a massive fucking stage that I get to go in there and show off my skill set as a competitor. And I basically get to like assault someone and get paid for it. Like it's amazing. I get praised for like beating someone up.
By the masses.
Big time too.
Yeah.
I was speaking of that, so there's been a few fights that have fallen out in this card. I don't know if this is true. I guess you can clear it up. I had heard that maybe your fight was getting bumped up to the kickoff of the main card. Is that true at all?
I haven't fucking heard of it, but hey, I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, you've got one of the hottest fucking prospects in the game. Why wouldn't you put him on a main card? That's the way to fucking show the world what's up. Go in there and spark someone off. And hey, look, I said this last time. My performance might not have been the prettiest, right? But the job got done, right? He didn't get to get out the first round, right? I rocked the mic better than anyone ever can, right? So why not put me on there? Immediate gold, lads. Immediate fucking gold. Stick me on the main card and watch it fucking blow up.
I was thinking the same thing. We're on the same page because obviously I don't think it's an accident that like it's your second fight in the UFC. It's coincidentally it's another pay-per-view card. I don't think that's an accident. Obviously they see something in you. They want you on they want you on these big cards, obviously.
You're fucking right, dude. I'm Mr. Pay-Per-View. I should be. I back it up every single time. I do exactly what I'm supposed to do, and I bring it. That's the thing you want with a fighter. That's the thing you want with someone when you're going to put them on the main card is you want them to show up. you don't want to go, oh, well, if he comes out, so I'm fucking going to be there. Ain't nothing going to beat me. Trust me. Just listen. I'm going to have the same conversations every single time we talk. The next guy is going to try to beat me. And the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy. And it's just going to be the same conversation.
Well, we're looking forward to the fight this weekend. We appreciate you giving us the time, you letting us in on the camp here. We're inside the gym with you. And best of luck this weekend. Best of skill, I should say. You know, luck isn't really part of the equation.
So when people say to me, good luck, I say, thank you, I don't need it, but I'll take it. Right?
Okay, fair enough.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
I have a question for you, right? You were over in London for UFC, right?
I was.
I have 2 questions for you from what I've seen from your Instagram.
Okay.
Firstly, how much better is a Galaxy chocolate bar than all the shit over here?
Listen, don't trash the American chocolate, because I love a good Hershey bar. I love a good Dove.
It's a different level, right? It's a different level of smooth.
I didn't want to believe it, but it is.
What?
It really is.
What do you miss?
It is, right?
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Well, what do you miss most about being in America, not back home for you?
For me, there's 2 things that I miss the most. And it's, if we're talking about food, there's a restaurant that when COVID hit, I started doing deliveries for, because I was like, fuck, I'm going to be locked down in my house. I might as well do deliveries. And the only reason I'd done deliveries with them was because I love their fucking food. I was going to be sat at home all day eating their food anyway. So I was like, fuck it. If I go work for them, I'm going to get paid. I'm going to be able to eat their food free when I work. And then when I'm not working, I'll get 50% off. So I was like, that's just fucking big brain. That's just smart move. It's called Camille. It's a Thai restaurant. So I was like, fucking, that's
nice.
And there's this chocolate brownie protein bar that me and my wife fucking love. I've told all my friends and family to bring some over for me because I want them so bad. But you had a pint of Guinness in England.
Yeah.
You need to go to Ireland to do that next time. So
Yeah, that's what everyone said.
I'm going to leave it on this. I will bring UFC back to Dublin, and I will get you a pint of Guinness, and you can taste that.
Fact. We'll do that. That's a plan.
Right? There you go.
All right. Thank you, Ian.
I've got to bounce. I've got to go get a massage. Keep loose, keep smooth, keep sexy.
All right. Thank you, Ian.
Appreciate it, Ian.
All right. Take care, guys. All the best.
All right, we appreciate Ian Garry for doing an interview with us. Of course, we're rooting for him on Saturday. I'm kind of always partial to the Irish fighters, I feel like, after the whole McGregor rise. Ian Garry and McGregor tweeted after the last fight that they were like kind of cordial. McGregor's congratulating him. He was like, part 2, the takeover. Come on, let's fight on the same card. Thought that was cool. Now let's get into the UFC 273 card. We're going to have our first guest making picks later on. We're going to have Magic MMA, who we've talked about a bunch on the show. He's going to break down the top 3 fights with us, talk about the card a little bit. For now, the 3 of us are going to go through it. Julio Rse versus Daniel Santos kicks off this card. Rse -200 favorite. Ev, I know you like him.
I do. I like him. I like him the moment I finish. He's plus 210. Santos is making the UFC debut. Rse is a good fighter. Like he got knocked out in his last fight, I believe, in the 2nd round by Song Yadong. Not exactly something to slouch over. I mean, he's big-time knockout power, big-time potential championship contending threat. I like him inside the distance plus 210. He's got some nice wins on it. He's beaten Dan Ige. I believe every win he's had in the UFC besides the Dan Ige win has been by finish. He's very he's got submissions in the UFC. He's got knockouts in the UFC. I just think it's a little bit of levels here. I just think the competition he's faced is much stronger. So right now in the Barca Sportsbook, he's to win inside the distance plus 210. I like that play a lot. I think he gets it done.
Daniel Santos is known as Willie Cat, which is a interesting. I've never heard that before.
No,
that
me neither.
nickname, but Willie Cat is awesome. He's 10-1, but I think this is his first fight since 2019.
Wow.
Ooh. Where'd they find this guy?
Well, he did fight in Brave CF.
Okay.
And then he's
over in Bahrain.
He's from Brazil. I don't know where they found him. I think he does have a lot of people do like him in this fight, but a lot of people are looking at it like, hey, like Ev said, there's levels to this. And if you haven't fought since 2019 and you're fighting Julio Rse, who I would say
Arce's fought some legit.
He's kind of a gatekeeper. Like if you can't beat him, then you may not be worthy to ever be in contention of a top 15, top 10 spot.
No, I don't think so. I just think Arce's a pretty legit guy.
I don't hate Willie Cat though. That name Willie Cat's sticking to me for some reason.
Kay Hansen versus Piera Rodriguez. This is almost a pick 'em. Kay Hansen plus 104, Pierre Rodriguez minus 127. Any favorites here?
I like Hanson as the dog. It's little funny story for Pierre Rodriguez. So on YouTube, I've been watching a lot of Hamzat stuff in the gym. He trains at All Stars in Sweden. So for a while, I think before, like when he first started training there, before he really like made his name, made some money, they have like an apartment, a little room that he was sleeping in the gym for a long time. Pierre Rodriguez now inhabits that same room.
Really?
Trains out of the same gym. Obviously lives there.
That makes me want to like her. She's
I know.
The hungrier dog
It's a
in
little.
this
I know
fight.
that's what scares me a little bit. But this is another one. I think it's just. I'm just willing to bet on kind of the competition.
Yeah.
Like, I just think like Kay Hansen just fought much better competition, so I'm kind of backing that here at plus money.
I think on a previous, or maybe I mentioned it before. We were talking about who was the girl who just lost. She was minus 200 in England. What's her name?
Oh,
she fought Hanson.
I know exactly.
She's an idiot because
I know
she
exactly
didn't take down.
Whatever
her name is.
Not what ends with an S.
Person she fought is.
Yeah,
it ends with an S.
The last
it's a long.
person
It's like
she fought.
what is her fucking name?
I don't want to know her name because she cost me money and she didn't shoot takedowns the entire fight.
Jasmine Jasudavicius.
No, the other one before that.
Corey McKenna.
Corey McKenna.
That's who it was. Yeah.
I said
They
on
both
a podcast that Corey McKenna could have went and played softball at Harvard. It actually turns out I got them mixed up. It was said during the Kay Hansen Corey McKenna fight, Kay Hansen could have ended up and played softball at Harvard or some Ivy League school. Now she is UFC fighter. I actually like her. She's pretty good. She's also an OnlyFans. She has an OnlyFans. I'm on it right now. I'm not subscribed, but I do. I will.
I looked
say,
over JackMac and I seen a half naked. I was like, is that her OnlyFans?
I will say she is a smart businesswoman. She has a UFC 273 fight week special right now, $15 for 30 days, 50% off. But she knows people are going to be going to it. So, I mean, I like her as a fighter. She also smart
Support her business.
And I think
maybe she'll get an Anik plug in the broadcast.
I'll be honest. She definitely
check out her OnlyFans.
I think
she
makes more doing this than UFC because it seems like she's fairly popular on here. So, but yeah, I like Kay Hansen as a fighter too.
Maybe she'll be a guest on Glenny Ball's new show.
That would be a great turnover or crossover.
We could do a crossover. Yeah, Spinnin Backfist
It's only stands.
The people are begging for that crossover. They've been begging for it for months.
Need to get Jessica Andrade on his show.
Is she also on OnlyFans?
She was a former belt like title fighter, and she says she makes more money in OnlyFans than she does fighting.
And Cynthia
Calvillo?
I think she's on OnlyFans too.
There's a few. There's quite a few, I believe, that are. God bless them.
Anyways,
God bless them.
Yeah, I mean, if you can make money,
do your thing, boo.
Do your thing, yeah.
Are there any dude OnlyFans fighters?
Who will be the first OnlyFans? I bet that it would
Johnny
work.
Walker.
I bet it, yeah. Sean Strickland's just furious thinking about it. He'll fight the first.
God.
He'll fight the first OnlyFans.
Sean Strickland will like beat people, just like beat up strangers on OnlyFans.
He'll like Masvidal somebody.
Yeah.
Anthony Hernandez versus Josh Fremd. I went to school with an Anthony Hernandez, and he wasn't a great guy to me. So I got something against all Anthony Hernandez's. No, it's
fluffy.
It's all good now. But yeah, I think Anthony Hernandez will take this one home.
Yeah, Josh Wright, he's making his UFC debut. I know he's got some hype behind him. The whole way this card played out is so weird. Where like Hernandez was supposed to fight Duplessis, then Duplessis was supposed to fight Gastelum. Then Gastelum pulled out. I like Duplessis. I'm kind of annoyed. That dude knocks people the fuck out.
Gastelum was supposed to fight Imavov too.
He had Imavov with the visa issues. That whole thing played out weird, but there's
something cursed about this one.
It's probably like a no. Hernandez, I have so much respect. He was the one who I think he had the odds wise. I think last year, like biggest upset of the year last year, and one of them.
over Rodolfo.
Really?
Yeah, he had that submission when he was literally plus like 500
Yeah,
or like
plus-
475, something crazy
On
like that.
Tapology, it says plus 400, but yeah, over Rodolfo, he
Submitted him, I believe, in the third round after he was getting the better.
and he
early.
submitted the jiu-jitsu champion.
Yeah,
of the
that's why it
world.
was so crazy.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
nuts.
And I think Joe Rogan was going crazy. He's like, "You can't, but this is crazy."
I just saw Joe Rogan is sponsoring Gordon Ryan and like I think it's the ADCC like championships, like the World Jiu-Jitsu Championships.
Okay.
He's like actually a sponsor of the tournament and Gordon Ryan, which I don't think he's done in the past, but pretty cool. It's definitely going to bring new eyes to that. Alexei Oleinik minus 118 versus Jared Vanderaa minus 106. I like Alexei Oleinik, but I mean, I don't know at this point.
It's just obviously I feel bad for Oleinik. Like he kind of did everything he needed to do, and then Latifi he pulls out literally the day of the fight for kind of like undisclosed reasons. They remake the fight. He pulls out again. They give him Vanderaa. I'm worried about Vanderaa just kind of using his size against him. He's just much bigger. Like Oleinik at this point, it's like I don't want to say he's like submission or bust because that's probably like a little disrespectful, but that's kind of been the way his last few fights have played out. I don't know if I'll like play Vanderaa because I just like the submission threat is so strong.
And there's a neck for him to submit
For
this
sure.
time instead of
Absolutely.
Latifi. There was no neck for him to
No.
submit.
So maybe you take Oleinik by sub. I mean, like if he's gonna win,
Yeah.
I think there's a decent chance that that's probably how he does it. So
I
if you
think
want, if
that'd
you want some
probably be a
plus
good
money,
play
that's
too,
probably
yeah.
the play. But I am just worried about Vanderaa just kind of like just putting him on his back quite a bit. I could see that definitely being he's a bigger guy.
Yeah. Mickey Gall plus 165 versus Mike Milot. Mike Milot. I don't know how you say that last name. Minus
Canadian.
210. Oh, he is Canadian. Probably
Yep.
Milot. Yeah. I like Mickey Gall. I've liked Mickey Gall for a while. Not only in this fight, but just like in the past. Like I remember watching Mickey Gall's UFC debut when it was like the winner of this fight will get to fight CM Punk, and watching it and immediately being like, oh no, Punk is fucked. You can't fight that guy. They got to change that. They did the face off and everything. And then Punk was fucked. I mean, that was just insulting to put Mickey Gall in the cage with him. So I actually like him via sub in this one, plus 400. I think Mickey Gall's submission game is pretty underrated. So I don't know. That's worth a play.
Yeah, I almost think even like if there's like a fight ends by sub, they're both kind of like submission artists. Like
Yeah.
that's what they both do. We were talking right before, like I remember I watched Milot's fight in a Contender Series. It was kind of like a weird, like I feel like he just didn't see much. The guy kind of like shot in and he just like standing guillotine him if I remember correctly, like pretty fast.
It was
Like,
a rear naked choke.
Or
Oh, no,
really-
guillotine choke. Never mind.
I think the guy literally shot and he kind of just like literally just gave his neck like an idiot and just like choked him out like literally in like
Yeah,
I think it was
Shamim.
Went in with the bulldozer.
Yeah.
like literally I think he had him. It was like 30 seconds, maybe not even. And it's weird. Most of his fights have been like that. But even when I was looking before, he basically fought twice. And then before that, he didn't fight for like years. His
weird.
only loss in MMA is to Akeem Dawodu, which is like a pretty good, like not a bad loss. And it
Yeah.
also was like 7 years ago.
Yeah, 2014.
So you can
October.
only tell so much about that. I mean,
Yeah.
he's probably like,
never won a fight later than 2 minutes into the first round.
see that makes me kind of want to take a shot on Gall.
He has.
That's kind of where my head was too with
Yeah.
Bob, like Gall by submission. Because honestly, even Gall, even some of his recent fights that he's lost, I feel like he showed. Like I remember I believe it was 2 summers ago when he fought like Mike Perry, and he ended up
Yeah.
losing by decision. But I remember he was like winning kind of early in the fight and was like holding his own compared to someone who's like a much better striker than he is. So I don't hate Gall by submission at all here. I just don't know enough about Milot. Like the fact that he hasn't gone that far in fights scares me. And that Mickey Gall has gone the distance and like just has a lot more experience, especially higher competition. So I don't think Gall by submission plus 400 is a bad look at all, or even just fight ends by sub.
Yeah, that'd be a good play as well. Mickey Gall, one of the all-time walkouts that he fought for. You know, he wanted Hey Mickey. Dana White said no way, and he was like, "Why the hell can't I do Hey Mickey? Why? That's strange." And then Dana White said, "All right, I'll give you Hey Mickey."
It kind of is weird. Like why not?
Yeah, Dana White was like, "I don't know. You can't let a guy walk out to that for a fight. I don't know. Why not?"
Yeah, Bam. I mean, obviously it's after Bam Bam's doing Spice Girls. I mean,
Barbie girl, yeah. All right, up next, Aspen Ladd versus Raquel Pennington. Aspen Ladd plus 160, Raquel Pennington minus 200. I sort of feel like this should be a pick'em. I don't know if you guys feel that way.
Very much so.
Okay.
That's why I just think it's a coin flip fight. I'm taking if you're gonna be plus 160, I'm taking it every
Yeah.
time. Also,
Yeah.
Pennington, she's coming in. It's late notice. Excuse me for. Is it? I keep getting confused. I feel like there was like been so many different fighters that were supposed to be in this specific fight. It was Ladd who's late notice, correct?
I don't even know.
Or Ladd was already in.
No, Ladd was going to
Pennington's
fight.
late notice, right?
Yeah, Ladd was going to fight Irene Aldana. And then that
Pennington
got
was supposed to
canceled
fight
because Aldana had an arm injury. And Pennington isn't mentioned in the canceled bouts on Tapology, but you may be right.
I think there was even someone else that was supposed to be in, and then she was out as well, and then now Pennington was put in, I believe.
There's something about Jacksonville cards, I feel like that brings us back to like almost COVID era of fighters going in and out and in and out and in and out.
Yeah, regardless, I agree with Bob that I just think it's a coin flip fight. So I mean, if you're gonna give me plus 160 in her, I'll gladly take it.
Yeah.
Pennington's on a nice little win streak, though. She's won 3 in a row. Her last loss was to Holly Holm, which was a while ago, but I was just trying to pull up her. I mean, I don't hate Ladd. Ladd kind of just feels like she's just been recently. She's ever since she lost that undefeated. What was that against Jermaine?
Durandamy.
Yeah, Durandamy.
Former champ.
She just kind of has just not been doing it for me. She did beat Kunitskaya, but then lost to Norma Dumont, which isn't the end of the world. But Raquel, the line I think is like accurate. I'll probably stay away from it. If I had to take a shot, I would probably take the underdog. But Raquel, I do like. She's had a nice little run. So we'll keep an eye on her, but it is weird.
JackMac, I can't let you say Raquel like that. Yeah, Raquel.
Oh,
there's no W in there, brother.
Okay.
Well,
just can't let that go by.
Like Raekwon.
Recorder Quell from the Hunger Games. Jairzinho Rosenstrike minus 155 minus Marcin Tybura plus 125. Speaking of really not being great with names, faces, me. I once met Marcin Tybura. I think I've told this story before, and I didn't realize that it was him. It was at a weigh-in, and there were fighters all around, and I saw like a group of people from MMA Twitter that like got into the weigh-ins. They got media credentials. So I went over to say hi to him, and I was like, hey, what's going on? Like, they were my friends. And Tybura was standing with them, but with like normal clothes on. And I was like, oh, are you guys going to the fights too? And man, he was fighting that Saturday, and he just looked at me with his face like, you fucking idiot. Yeah, I'm going to the fights. You're coming to see me. I was like, God damn. Yeah. And I didn't realize that till like I went home or when I saw him fight at least. And I was like,
6'4",
oh, shit.
270-pound guy that's just
I know,
hanging
it was
out in
really
the
dumb.
media.
I was like, this guy's a big fan, man. He's huge. Yeah. But he's plus 125 in this fight. I think I mentioned that. Rosenstrike, he looked so good in that. What was that fight? Who did he fight where it was like for 25 minutes? Oh no, it was he fought Overeem, and for 25 straight minutes, Overeem looked like he was the old him, looked like he was gonna beat him, and then boom, split his lip open. I feel like you can never count him out after that one.
And he's in kind of this weird where he's kind of been in some spots like that since then where he hasn't pulled that off. Like the Cyril Gahn fight, he just got picked apart for 25 minutes. Blades kind of just wrestled him. I think that was
just
his last
waiting
fight
for it every time.
For like 25 minutes. Even in the, I remember watching, even though he ended up knocking out Junior Dos Santos, I remember even early in that fight, he just was being very very hesitant. And then once he let his hands go, it was over.
Yeah.
So I feel like he just needs to just do that earlier. Like if he
gotta do what Francis did to him.
Yes, like Francis just bell rung and I'm just gonna knock you out.
I'm just gonna bomb rush you. Yeah.
That was one of the more vicious knockouts I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just seeing a guy that big just get like comatose like that against the cage.
And it looked like he could do nothing about it.
No,
it was just nothing you could stop.
It looks
that.
like if they had lined it up 20 times, that would have happened every single time.
Yeah.
But
Man,
because me and
scary.
JackMac were talking about it like off air, I kind of was almost thinking of maybe taking Tybura as the dog, just because like Rosenstrike just made me hesitant to back him after he just keeps like, it seems like he's just not willing to just like take the chances and let his hands go. But the more I've kind of thought about it even since then, in the last like hour. I've been sitting there. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, it's a different animal to not let your hands go against Cyril Gahn than it is against Marcin Tybura. Just in the length and athleticism, like it's such a obviously massive difference.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he puts him out fast. Actually, wasn't he knocked out Sakai at like the end of the first round too?
Yeah.
In that mix as well, where he finally let his hands go and just put him down right away. So maybe I feel like he's minus 155 to win. I bet to win by KO he's like plus 100. I'll look up exactly right now. I can't imagine the line's like that different. I mean, if he's gonna win, that's usually how it's gonna happen. I almost think I've just talked. This is like therapy. I kind of just like talked myself back into Rosenstrike.
Yeah, he's Rosenstrike. I don't know. When I saw
plus 110 by KO.
When I saw this line initially, my first response was Rosenstrike. Tybura, though, how Volkov beat him was by just like volume. It wasn't like he hurt him really, and he did. I think Volkov even took down Tybura late in that third round, if I remember correctly. But Volkov just kickboxed him to death, kind of. Now, is Rosenstrike just going to sit back and let Tybura kind of like not piece him up? I don't know. I think the line's pretty accurate of the chances here. I do think Rosenstrike's level of competition is a lot higher. That's not really saying a lot, though, because, you fought Francis Ngannou, but he knocked you out in 15 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, the top three guys all dominated him pretty
Blades, and then you could even say Overeem dominated him, and then he just got caught. But I thought Tybura was like 45. He's only 37 or 38. So at first I was like, oh, he's an old guy. He's just going to get ran through. But 38 in heavyweights. Like,
not terrible.
Yeah.
Up next, we have a fight that I feel kind of similarly about, where I think a much heavier favorite, but if it's going to go anyway, it's going to go by KO. It's Ian Garry versus Darian Weeks. Ian Garry minus 400, Darian Weeks plus 300. Garry is also, just like Rosenstrike, plus 110 via KO. I think that's the play here.
So I was looking at this. I think I'm going to play him actually just by finish, because I do think he does kind of have an edge on him with like the grappling stuff. So just to be safe, I believe him to win by finish is, he's minus 110 by finish. So I think that was where my head was at, just to like be safe in case any crazy stuff happens. I think it's highly likely.
Or even if he rocks him and then
I think it's definitely more likely that he wins by knockout if he wins by finish. Like, and he's a showman. Like, he wants to knock people out for sure.
I don't want to be disrespectful to Darian Weeks. He stinks. He lost to Brian.
That's the magic. That's the magic influence. He's like, let it fly. Fuck
like
it.
he lost to Brian Barberena.
Yeah.
Like, we saw.
I mean, he just put on a war with Matt Brown.
Yeah, but that was like the worst. Because Ev was here watching it was
Gotti Ward.
Sweet.
That's what we talk about. Ted Atlas literally referred to it as Gotti Ward, which is so funny.
This guy
Gotti Ward with elbows was, I believe, his direct quote, with elbows.
Yeah.
Why did he even get into the UFC? I don't get it. Like, was he a late?
Well, they got to get people to fight Ian Garry. Well, I guess that wasn't initially his entry, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
I think this right here, this fight, or this is just a classic. We want Ian Garry to be around for a while.
We want to highlight finish.
And here, even if he just pieces him up for 3 rounds, if Garry pieces him up for 3 rounds, we see his cardio, we know he's legit. This is like not even a gatekeeper, I'm going to say. It's like just opening the front door for Ian Garry. I think it's like like a
Sugar Sean opponent.
Yeah, I think Ian Garry should be the largest favorite on the card outside of Peter Yan.
I mean, I agree in the sense that I love him. I just love him by finish. Like, I'd be really surprised if he doesn't get it done inside the distance. So that's probably one of my bigger plays on the card is Ian Garry inside the distance.
There we go. And he's the guest on this episode. So that's very nice. Vank Pichel versus Mark Madsen. Another one that's almost a pick. Mark Madsen plus 104. Pichel minus 129. Do you guys like anything here? I feel like I'm staying away from this altogether.
It's going to be that's just going to be interesting. Madsen's a great wrestler. He's like one of the best wrestlers in Europe. I think he's English
pretty sure he is.
And he's one of those guys that may just be on top of you like a wet towel. But Pichel's, I like Pichel too. Pichel literally looks like Cub Swanson, I think it is.
Yeah, he does. He has the mustache, the big mustache.
I don't know what to do.
Great mustache.
I don't know.
Little curls on it. He puts sometimes.
I don't know what to
He
do
gets
here. I kind of like Madsen, but also he's old because he was I don't know if he won a medal in the Olympics, but I mean he focused a lot of his. He's also from Norway, it appears. So I apologize. Or Denmark, sorry.
Flag looks similar. Red and white.
But he looked decent against Guida. Austin Hubbard he beat, and then this will be to see if he's legit or not. And I'm just checking his age really quick. He is 37, which is old for his division. Like he's not heavyweight. But we'll see. I'm interested to see this fight. I don't really have a read on it.
Yeah, I would. I'm not. I would lean Madsen.
Me too. Yeah,
but
that's where I lean.
Oh, all right. Plus 104.
I think that line's perfect.
The next fight I'm looking forward to very much. I think this is a banger. Mackenzie Dern versus Tisha Torres. This one, Mackenzie Dern minus 118, Tisha Torres minus 106. I do like Mackenzie Dern. I think she's the real deal. Mackenzie Dern via submission plus 250 here. Mackenzie Dern via decision plus 300. I think whatever you're feeling on fight night, you go with there. I think those are the two most likely outcomes. I do respect Tisha Torres, though. I think she's a great fighter.
Yeah, I'd probably take Dern just on the money line. Not because the fight can just go a lot of ways. I do think it is like, I think the line probably does make sense with her just being like a very slight favorite.
Is Torres married to Pennington, or am I making that up?
She might be. I don't know.
A couple spouses fighting on the same card?
We do have enough spouses in the UFC now, like across all divisions, coaches, and everything, that they need a reality show for that.
She is married to Raquel. I'm sorry. Raquel Pennington. She, is this the first time two people have fought on the same card that are married?
Has Tim Elliott ever fought? His wife is
what's her name?
Gia.
They might have done that
Mazzano
before.
or
Like,
yeah.
I feel like these two might have done that before.
So, but that's
honestly,
a cool
it could make sense
line.
if you're like married, you're just like in sync. You're like we're training at the same time, so then you can relax. Like one's
Cutting
relaxing, one's training. Yeah, like one's like stay on the same path.
Yeah, but that's got to do something to you mentally. Watching your partner fight, like right before you're about to go out there, that's got to be just taxing.
Yeah.
Oh,
fuck.
Okay, so listen to this run. I didn't realize Tisha Torres had this. Jessica Andrade, Joanna, Weili Zhang, Marina Rodriguez. She fought from 2018 to 2019. She lost all four of them. But those are like, you can't even say. She's fought everybody, man. Rose Namajunas.
She's been in the division, feels like forever.
She did an exhibition match against Esperanza, which is interesting. I've never heard of an MMA exhibition match. Like, it's not like a grappling match. But I like Dern. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of accent she comes out with this time.
Yes. 100%.
Always evolving.
By the way, like if you're watching and hasn't seen this, I mean, she has a different accent every time. But
yeah, you gotta YouTube it. There's a video with the evolution from kind of Arizona Cali girl to full on Brazilian.
Full on. I guess that's what happened. That's what happens.
Brian Kelly, you just move and
yeah. Madonna.
One day you're just like a guy from like Massachusetts, and the next day you just got like a Bayou accent.
Yeah, it just happens. Like
that's what $100 million contract they'll do for you.
Gilbert Burns plus 375 versus Khamzat Chimaev minus 530. Those odds, mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. Some other odds that I'm just going to read off here that I found interesting. Khamzat via submission plus 240. Gilbert Burns via KO plus 1,300. Gilbert Burns via decision plus 800. Like, these odds are just so out there. It's almost Ronda Rousey-esque. I don't really know what's going to happen in this fight because this is such a step up in competition for Khamzat. But my gut tells me that the odds are right, and Khamzat's just going to run right through him.
Chimaev by TKO.
What is that? What are the odds on that
Plus
one?
150. I think
You
so.
think he's just gonna do exactly what he did to like GN3?
Not. I wouldn't say that. I mean, that'd be crazy if he did. I don't know if he's gonna go out and just like one punch sleep him. That would be that'd be like I would go insane. But I think he wins by either like ground strikes or like or knocks him out in the feet. I don't know. I just don't think Burns is such a credentialed jiu-jitsu. Like, you got to give him his due there. He's literally never been submitted in MMA. So I think I'm willing to lean more on him, like finishing him with strikes. Then I think Burns will put himself in a bad spot to get hit before he puts himself in a bad spot to get choked. Maybe I'll be wrong. We'll see. I mean, I think Chimaev, he gets the job done convincingly. Betting wise, I'm taking it by TKO because I think that's the most likely outcome. And I think plus 150s. I think there's a chance that it could look like he's minus 500, that he could look minus 1,000. I'm just a believer. I've been a believer since day one.
Man.
I saw the first. There's just something when you see him, to me, about like just an eye test thing where he just like that first fight against John Phillips, he just popped off my screen. I'm like who is this guy? Like, it was just on, like, just even though like John Phillips, I think he might like have either one win in the UFC or none. I don't care. Just the way he just ran through these guys is just so impressive.
It's scary.
I'm buying the
frankly.
stock. I'm buying the stock. If I go broke on it, then so be it. But I'm buying the stock. I think he's the real deal. I think he's going to hold belts. Like, and I say belts? Plural belts.
Ooh.
If people hate me for saying that, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll eat it. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I'm a believer. I'm all in. The chips are all in on Chimaev.
If he wins a title this year, can you shave your beard into his beard?
Just shave my mustache, you mean, basically?
I guess, yeah.
Sure. I said if we ever get him in person. I guess I'll say him too. If we ever get him in person, I will let him. I want him to choke me out. I want him to put me to sleep.
You want him to be the one?
Yeah, I said Nate Diaz would be the one that I would allow him.
Okay.
I'll put Hamzat also on that list. If he's in person, if he would just comfortably choke me out where I won't die.
Yeah.
Just put me to sleep where I'll wake up momentarily.
I'll be like, I take care of you, brother.
Yes. Just like just slowly just bring me down. Maybe close to the ground so it's not big tree falls hard. We don't need that.
Man, we got to get him in person. I got to see that.
I want just his reaction to be like, will you choke me out? I want you to put me to sleep.
Oh, he would love. I bet he would love to. I bet he would be delighted. He's like, yes. It's like having a cigarette for him. He's like, yes, I just get to have a quick choke break.
But yeah, I'm all in on him. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm all in on this fight. I think will tell us. I'm gonna go as far as say pretty much everything we need to. Not everything. If he runs through him, I think it says everything. If it's like a war of a fight, then that's nuts. Then I'll be like, all right.
I think this fight pretty much will tell us everything. You put Gilbert Burns in front of somebody.
It's such a jump in competition.
Yeah.
Like people, I think some comments I was seeing about me about the thing about like him being a favorite over Usman. I think people are looking too much on him on paper in terms of like, what's he like 10-0? He's 11th ranked. That shit doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Him being the 11th ranked welterweight does not matter. Because if he knocks out Gilbert Burns, he'll be number 2 like that.
Of course, because look at all the people in front of him. Usman's beat them all.
Yeah. No, I'm all in on him. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But this is a guy that from day one I've been on him. I saw him and I texted all my MMA friends and I was like, you got it. Because he was on like a random card like when COVID was first getting back on.
He was on that Wednesday card.
Like, and then that was
might have been.
Yeah, I think it was a Wednesday. He literally was on the Wednesday card. I was like, this guy is like unbelievable. He's still never. I mean, people are talking about he's been hit twice. The 2 hits I believe were in that fight where he was on Phillips' back and Phillips just kind of gave him like a over his shoulder. Yeah. Just gave him like a one. Like I was.
He hasn't been like.
He really has.
Not,
he has not like legitimately been hit.
Imagine he doesn't even have a chin.
I think
he
he's
might
the
not
Terminator.
need one.
I think he's the Terminator.
And to back up the TKO, I mean, it is Usman, but Burns did pretty much get retired by a jab.
Yeah, badly. I mean, he was getting rocked with jabs. And I'll give Usman's got a piston.
He rocked Usman.
Usman's got a piston for a fucking jab, so not like no shot at Burns, but Burns obviously he's not. I mean, also this is another MMA math one that's crazy. I mean, he got slept by Dan Hooker.
Yeah.
MMA math is the best. I love MMA math.
I saw one recently where they did Muhammad Ali, how he's better than or how Ben Askren's better than Muhammad Ali, and they did the whole MMA math down to that.
That's all. That's all time. That's like when it's like, oh,
unbelievable.
UConn was better than Alabama this year or something. It's like, this happened, that happened. But no, yeah, I back up all of Big Ev's claims on Chimaev. It's just he's the most athletic.
He's a specimen.
Yeah, white guy I've ever seen. I mean, I don't know if he's white technically, but
he's Russian.
He's Russian. But
I don't know if that. I don't know. I don't know how people like consider that. I think he's a freak of nature.
He could be like the best wide receiver in the NFL if he wanted to be.
Really? You think that highly of his athleticism?
I would not agree with that. I think there's a certain level of athleticism in the NFL. I don't know if he can match that, like speed.
I don't know. Have you seen him play?
I've never seen him catch a football either.
Dagestani basketball. It's basically football.
Yeah.
They don't dribble, right? They just run.
No. Yeah.
They just run around, and then Habib acts like he's Kobe and LeBron into one. It's awesome. I would watch that. Like if they were.
Did you really think that he could play in the NFL?
Yes, I think he's that athletic.
Like you're so. All right, I'll even give you the benefit of the doubt. Like if he had trained football.
That's what I mean.
When he was like a
Not
child.
Not tomorrow.
Okay, I'm a believer in that as well. Just in terms of like I believe elite athletes are just kind of elite
if he
athletes.
was born in Alabama.
And you might be like a better, MMA fighter than you would have been a football player, but you're a believer that he just is like that elite of an athlete that if he took anything on, he would at least be like good at it.
I bet
he'd at least be like a scholarship football player.
I bet
like that.
I bet if his vertical, if you got it in like NFL Combine, if he went to the NFL Combine, when it's happening,
this is went off the rails, but I'm kind of here for it.
And didn't tell anybody about like if. And these NFL scouts probably don't even know who Hamza Chimaev is.
If he just showed up and
think about football,
showed up and just ran the 40 into the 3-cone drill,
3-cone vertical, I bet Indianapolis would be
his stock would rise,
buzzing. They'd be like, "Who is this guy?
Who is this guy?"
We got to call Dana and see if we could make this happen. Just send Chimaev to the NFL Combine this year, like in a little disguise. Make sure nobody knows it's him, and just have him run as Dan Smith or something.
See, honestly, I almost want like if we ever got the chance to interview him, ask him like what his 40 is. I feel like he'd be 40. What's that, brother? Like
they'd be like
40.
We have him run in the office.
Like a 40 is such an arbitrary thing that like is just used for the NFL Combine. That we kind of use as like this thing like a 40. Like I feel like it's not used for anything.
They definitely
else.
use the metric system over there too, right?
For sure. That's what I'm saying.
I guess we'd ask him his 100-meter dash. That'd be a good.
That's more endurance, yeah.
We could, if we ever get him, we'll have him run one in the office to see if he could make it into the NFL. We can measure his hand or something. That's for quarterbacks, right?
We'll Glenny balls him. We'll just be like, just run for us. Let's see how fast you are.
A football in his hands probably looks like a pee-wee football in mine. Did you see Daniel Cormier like calling out? Not really, but kind of being like, "Why are you guys so buddy?"
With Darren Till,
Chimaev and Till. It's weird because. I think
they could fight each other eventually.
Lee Holbert put on Twitter for us, our Spinning Backfist media guy, our social media guy. He said, like, this is the same thing as you and Habib back in the day. Like, you guys would just like be like, buddy.
Well, it's not the same weight class,
they were way different weight classes.
That is true.
Like Chimaev is like literally 170 kind of / 185 or sort of. So
that is true.
Like if Till rose back up, and then
that's like saying that you can't be friends with anyone in your division. Like, come on.
Yeah,
that's classic. Like, oh, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson hated each other back in the day. Actually, they didn't, but like it was like the classic. Like, oh, NBA players back in the day. Charles Oakley always hated the competition. Like, they can be friends.
Also, do you see Strickland talked about it too, that he had been doing some work with Hamzat. It was with the Schmo.
No.
And
I love
Schmo was kind of almost like, do you want me to say it? Like basically kind of be like admitting like that Hamzat was like working him.
Oh no.
No, Strickland was straight up. He was like, because he was like, how would you say it went? And he said that she basically gave Schmo the floor. He was like, go ahead. And he was like, well, on the feet, it was like, okay. And then like he made you tap out quite a few times on the ground. It's just training. Like it was just training, obviously. He was even basically saying that he was like, Schmo was like, that Hamzat was owning Strickland in training.
That's funny. I like the Schmo. The Schmo's always nice to me when I see him in person.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy. I'm all for a good character.
Yeah. Definitely. It's kind of like Barstool-esque, like when you could kind of be a different kind of guy. Yeah, I like the Schmo. Speaking of two guys that hate each other, Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan. Aljamain Sterling plus 340, Petr Yan minus 480. I don't know if this is just me drinking the New York juice, but I think that maybe that Sterling won't win, but I think the line should be a lot closer. Sterling's three winning method odds are decision plus 700, submission plus 1,000, and KO plus 1400. I think that's crazy lines for him. Now Yan plus 120 via decision, plus 162 via knockout. I don't have the submission stat in front of me. I do think Piotr Yan will probably go home as champion. The odds make me want to sprinkle something on Aljamain Sterling though.
I think if you're gonna bet Sterling, you got to do it by submission.
Yeah.
To
Plus
me,
1,000.
I think that's his only like true route to victory. I had said in the last show, I think he's gonna fight better than people expect. And when I say that, I mean I just don't think Jan's gonna just like put him out in the first round. Like I don't think Jan's gonna just like run through him.
I don't think that.
Going back and watching the last fight, it was weird because it was closer early on in the sense that Aljo, it was like so weird because it was like his cardio was like bad and good at the same time, if that makes sense. If you remember watching the fight, even the commentary was talking about, you could see his movements were like laboring probably like third round. But even though they were laboring, he kind of kept like pushing the pace though. It was very strange.
Oh yeah.
Like even though clearly his movements were not as sharp, punches started looping, like he still was like bringing the
He
fight.
got his second win quickly, but it wasn't like a.
But Yan was still just like piecing him up. Like he dropped him one time. He was like Yan was getting the better of him, and the momentum was just steamrolling in Jan's favor.
I'm obsessed with Yana. I think he's possibly the best fighter in the world, pound for pound. I think he's going to just run through Aljamain again, and I think he has all the motivation in the world. We don't have to talk about like the last fight in terms of what happened in it, outside of like the actual, not the knee, but before that. Aljamain, I do kind of agree with you, Robbie, a little bit that the odds are a little bit wide, but I keep coming back to it. I just think Jan's just going to run through him again. And I can't believe we had him minus 110 against Aljamain. I mean, it made sense at the time because Aljamain seemed insane. And Aljamain's
He's on a great run.
Yeah, and Aljamain's a great fighter. This isn't like disrespect to Aljamain. I just think he's a Siberian beast. He's like, he's amazing, and I can't get enough of him.
He's so durable. Like that's why I just think like Aljo. That's why I said I think Aljo really can only win by submission.
If Aljo won this though, that would be like crazy.
Well, that's
I
why
would be like, oh my god.
As a man who likes to watch the world burn, Aljo winning would be fucking
New York.
unbelievable.
Oh, I would love it.
Like if Aljo just beats him,
throw him a parade.
Especially it just feels to me like on the that the entire MMA world is just so against him. They're just kind of out on him as a person after everything that's happened with the belt. Blah blah blah. We talked about the pound for pound the other day. I thought Yan should be much higher on the pound for pound rankings.
Yeah, he's very low on that.
He's like 8 or 9, which I think he should be like top 5 in my opinion. But yeah, I mean I think Yan definitely gets it done. I'd be very surprised if Aljo won. My only thing is, like you talked about like Piotr Yan like having pressure, like I feel like Aljo's like entire reputation's on the line.
100%.
Like if he just gets bulldozed, like people are like, oh, this guy, like they're gonna like just poo him forever. But even if he loses and say, imagine this fight, hypothetical world, it's like a classic.
Yeah.
Aljo at least gets his like respect.
Oh
back.
yeah.
And
definitely.
I just think you're gonna see like Aljo obviously had the neck surgery, had a lot going on, but so that part worries me. But if that's in check, I think we'll get like the best Aljo because I think you're seeing a guy who literally the world is against him. Like how do you not train your ass off like you've never trained before for this fight?
Yeah,
everything Aljo, everything is on the line. Everything. Like everyone already respects Yan. Like if he just lost, people will say it's a fluke or they'll say this and that. Like if Aljo just gets bulldozed, they're gonna be like people are gonna be writing him off forever.
Yeah, and I mean his former UFC champion. When people say that, it'll always be a joke to some people.
That's what I'm saying. People just laugh at him.
Yeah,
and he knows that. Like he's not a dummy. He knows that.
Yeah,
that's why I think we're
this
gonna
is
get
be
the
a really
best
competitive
Aljo.
fight. Yeah.
Those first two,
and I'm rooting for him, to be honest. Like that's who I'm rooting for in this fight. I would like to see him win.
And those first 2 rounds were very competitive.
That's they like. I mean, he was on when the fight ended. It was the end of the 4th round, which I think that round was clearly going to Yan. It was 2-1, I believe, on 1 or 2 scorecards for Aljo.
Yeah, no,
which people can agree or disagree on that. I think Aljo should have at least had 1 round in the bank at that point. I think it probably in my mind after that round it would have been 3-1 Yan. But they were like not dominant rounds until probably the 4th round.
It was a really good fight until that 4th round.
Yes,
Where it's like,
it was starting to get
Jan's,
bad. Yeah. Because you could say Aljo was like, he was laying on the ground. He was trying to get him to come on the ground, basically saying like trading on the feet's not going to be the way he wins. He gets that. But Yeah, I'm really excited. I want to see the world burn, so I kind of want Aljo to win too.
And now another one where we could truly see the world burn here. The main event, Alexander Volkanovsky versus the Korean Zombie. Volkanovsky minus 770, the Korean Zombie plus 500. These odds are crazy. Zombie is plus 1,000 via KO. Volk is plus 240 via KO. Man, I think that Volkanovski is going to win. And if he wins, I think we'll be able to get him in studio for the Spinnin' Backfist show next week. I'm rooting for that, but there's something inside me saying, how amazing would it be if one of my all-time favorite MMA fighters, the Korean Zombie, takes a title home, finally, a UFC title. It'd be an unreal moment.
The best nickname in all of MMA, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Best walkout, maybe.
Just everything unbelievable. This is a fight that, I'm not super, looking to get involved in just personally. I just think Volkanovski, minus 770 is just crazy. Just really high. We'll get to the parlay, after this, but I was kind of even against him being in the parlay just because I don't think he's the juice is not worth the squeeze.
I feel that,
what he's going to do to the parlay, minus 770 is putting such a small, it's not worth it. I just don't think it's worth it.
I agree. I'm with that.
If he was minus 300, I'd be like, let's throw him in there. Minus 770, I don't think so. It's a fight that I'm not I don't know. I'm just not there's nothing that stands out to me that I love from a betting standpoint. I think the line's just too big, but I think Volkanovski will win.
What's TKZ by decision? I mean, honestly, at that point, you might as well just take TK if you like.
I'm gonna guess it's plus 1,000 or 900.
10-1 on him by decision. I could see a 48-47. I mean, it's 10-1, so you're taking a shot. I think we're all in agreement here on that. It's the line's way too wide at this point.
1,100. 11 to 1 on Zombie by decision.
Now, it's you look at these three fights to end the card, massive lines, and you just think to yourself, one's gonna fall. And I think if one's gonna fall, it's funny enough. I think it's the widest line. I think it's Volkanovski, but I'm not a prophet, so
I weirdly do agree with you. I think the easy answer for someone to say would be Burns.
Yeah.
Just because Hamzat's just unproven to some level. So I think most people on the outside looking in might say Burns, but I agree with you.
I think the odds for those two fights should be swapped.
Yes. I think
Volkanovski minus 530 and Zombie plus 375 makes way more sense.
I think it should be even more minus 275 plus 225 kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what he was against Ortega, right?
Yeah.
Ortega might even have been a less even.
I think he was. I think Ortega closed
200
at
range,
minus 180, 200.
I was going to say, yeah, it wasn't. And I think me and Jack had talked earlier too, Volkanovski's a bigger favorite in this fight than he was against Darren Elkins. And I know a lot's changed since then, but just some of the guys he's fought in the past, way smaller favorite.
Yeah, the damage.
Just some some much less credentialed fighters than the Korean Zombie.
Yeah.
So just
the
I don't know.
Tattoo on his chest is still
unbelievable.
Wow, what a tattoo! Yeah.
And we know Volkanovski's going to show up. There's no
they both are.
Sorry, Korean Zombie's going to show up because he shows up for fights. It's not this is his first really big fight. No, he's going to come. He's going to give us your best. If you want to take a guy as an underdog, this is a guy that is going to, if you're taking Burns, there's a high likelihood that he just gets ran through. And then Aljamain, same thing happens. I think here is there's a lot more question.
I mean, Volkanovski's not a super finisher.
No, yeah.
He's not somebody who's out here just knocking everybody out. He finished Mendez. I mean, he didn't finish Ortega, which he should have. That fight should have been called.
Yeah.
I mean, that one I'll not gonna break his balls too bad.
He beat the fuck out of him after he came out with the purge mask and all
basically,
that.
other than getting put in a choke for 30 seconds, he dominated that fight wire to wire badly. Yeah. I know our guy Magic's gonna be on a second, referred to him as the LA punching bag.
Yeah.
After that fight, in his fights with Holloway.
That's tough.
I mean, listen, Ortega's a beast. It was Holloway and Volkanovski, no slouches. But yeah, no, I agree that it's weird to say that I think he is in the best. Like, if this fight went to decision, I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever. I actually think it's like favored to go to decision.
Oh,
Like,
really?
I'm pretty sure to like go the distance is like minus 180. I'm pretty sure. So
Interesting.
they're not. So they're basically the odds makers are saying they think this fight's going to go 5 rounds. So
Yeah.
if you think a fight's going to go 5 rounds, and the underdogs plus over 500,
1,100.
1,100 by decision
As
plus
decision?
5 plus 5 1,100 by decision plus 500 or more to win the fight.
Like, I don't think Volkanovski's getting knocked out.
No, I don't think so either.
So
No.
The guy's durable
But
as hell. He's a
imagine-
beast, man.
Well, the only thing we talked about Pena earlier, I did take a little bit of her, I think, by submission, but I was really heavy on round 3, 4, and 5 on her not heavy, but like one against Nunez, and she won in round 2.
Yep.
And I still, to
Yeah.
this day, just am like, why didn't I just take Pena plus or money line?
Plus
And-
like 600, yeah.
But anyways, yeah, like this one, I don't want in the parlay. I think we're all in agreement in that.
Yeah, so I think now we gotta discuss the parlay.
The parlay, yeah.
It's
So
tough.
do you want Yan on it? Should
Yeah.
he be our main event?
I want Yan and Chimaev on it.
Yan Chimaev. The next
Then I would
one, I think you
say- I think
stay
I
away
think-
from.
I think we put Ian
Ian
Garry
Garry.
in it.
Yep. I
Ian
like
Garry,
that.
I like in it. See, other than that, it's kind of tough
It is.
because that's not going to give us like a super. Like that's going to give us like
Do you want to put Mackenzie Dern?
to get really crazy with it.
But the thing with Dern,
I mean,
is,
your
I don't
boy
know.
Arce to kick off the
No,
card.
I don't want to. Willie Cat.
Yeah, I don't love the potential of like the first fight of the night ending it.
Yeah. True.
Do you? I don't love. Mickey Gall.
I don't hate putting Dern in it. Let me see where that would put us. So if we go
That would probably put us like 3-1.
Jan, Hamzat, Dern,
Garry.
and Garry. That's actually not terrible.
What is it?
That would get
Yeah.
us, as it stands right now, with no boost, plus 233.
All right, so it'd probably get us like.
I
plus
think
Pretty
that's-
good.
I think
Plus
it's a
over
solid-
over 300 probably.
Yeah, so or close to it at least. Probably at least
Yeah.
like over 250, we'll say, because odds will change by the time it's live. But
And it'll be
True.
easy to market with Mackenzie Dern.
and also that's nice too, because it's basically it gives us some people some time. It's like the prelim headliner, if
Yeah.
you will, and then
Yep.
main fights, and then like fourth,
And you get
second-
3 in a row.
fourth, second,
Yeah.
third fight. Yeah.
and
And then you get to chill for the main event, you know?
Yep. Get to just enjoy as a fan.
And I think
Yeah.
people they're like, oh, when's UFC on? And that usually comes around 7. And
Yep.
it's like, oh, I want to take the spinning backfist parlay, but we were like, oh no, it was actually on the prelim that only 50,000 of us watched at 4:30.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say so Ian Garry will probably because.
He'll either be main event.
He's
prelim.
the main. I mean, he's the last fight on the prelims, which start at 8. So
All right,
he's gonna
yeah.
fight at like 9:30.
and we can push it hard.
perfect.
So
on
then we'll have
Saturday.
all day to push it Saturday. So I think that works. Go the 4 of them. So the official is gonna be Ian Garry, Mackenzie Dern, Hamzat Chimaev, and Peter Yan.
Piotr.
Piotr.
Yeah.
I'll
Piotr
text
Yan.
Jack right now.
Boom.
Sweet.
Love it. I think that's a good parlay, boys. 4-0, and still
3-0.
Absolutely.
we're going for 4-0.
Well-
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're 3-0-1.
It's
No,
3-0.
that doesn't even
3-0.
count. It got
It's just
canceled.
void. 3-0.
Yeah, 3-0.
No
Void,
ties,
void,
just
all right,
void.
void, all
Void.
right. Fair.
Like
Yeah,
a no
void.
contest.
Basically, yeah. We got it. We went to the commission. We were like,
It's
get that stricken
it's not
from
a
the record.
3-0-1. It's like 3-0 and then just one NC.
One NC.
That's the record.
Yeah, exactly.
One no contest.
Exactly. Undefeated still.
Yes, never lost.
All right, now let's throw over to our interview with Magic MMA. All right, now joining us, a legend. We've talked about this guy for episodes. Well, since the beginning, pretty much. I think we mentioned him on episode 1. He's been given Ev picks. He's been given JackMac picks. We've all appeared on his show. I would say the best gambler on MMA Twitter, Magic MMA. What's going on, Magic?
That's a great introduction, man. Thank you for having me, and let's see what's good.
Some people are going to be mad about that, Robbie. You calling him the best gambler on MMA
Yeah.
Twitter. I agree with you, but
I'm going to be honest. He's the only one I follow.
gambling MMA Twitter is a
It's a wild world. It's a competitive world.
A lot of people are going to be mad. I'm glad about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
I feel
That's
like
fine.
Magic's
I'm
like a,
new to the
uh,
gambling world. Obviously, not new to the MMA world, but new to the gambling world. And that was like Ev was like, "Yo, you got to tail this guy, Magic."
Because I'm the guy, I keep my eye on like a lot of different people, and then I narrow it. I'm like, this is the guy. Like every sport,
Yeah.
I think smart people listen to other smart people. and this is like a Magic dick sucking fest right now. But he's giving me so many winners. Like I like he deserves this. Like just the tape stud. Like this guy watches every fight that like any fighters like ever fought. He does so much study, so much like film study. He just knows the fighter in and out. He knows the technicalities of every like just branch of MMA in and out. Super sharp guy. I've been wanting to get him on the show. Waited till this is the biggest card that we've had since we started the show. So had to get him on.
Very funny on Twitter too.
And a comedian as well.
People are going to be so mad about this. I love it.
We don't give a shit. I'm like this Magic's the guy. I'm like I almost feel like you're like a cult hero in like our little like MMA world of Barstool.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Like I've like said your name, so now there's a face to the name.
Yeah. All right. Now we're going to talk about the main 3 fights on this card. 3 like super wide lines, like we mentioned. Gilbert Burns versus Khamzat Chimaev. What's your read on this, Magic?
Like, this is low-key the biggest fight of the card, right? You see the numbers they are putting on YouTube. Chimaev is really a superstar already. And the first thing you like, the first thing that comes to your attention regarding this fight are the odds. Like, the line is wide. It's very wide, but the guy looks like a monster, an absolute monster. And you are going to see a lot of people betting Burns here, and to some extent, it makes way. Like, how wrong can you be on Gilbert Burns here? But honestly, I have to trust my eyes. I think the guy is an absolute monster. How is he going to cover a minus 500 price? It sounds crazy to say, but he probably can cover it, maybe even grappling. The big question regarding this fight is, can Chimaev grapple Burns? Because Gilbert Burns is a jiu-jitsu specialist, world-class jiu-jitsu player, very good grappler. He's the number 2 ranked contender in the UFC. Has fought a list of who's who in the UFC, and now he's like plus 400 to this guy who he has won dominantly, but he hasn't faced really anyone. The only ranked guy he faced was Jin Liang Li, who is not a very good grappler, and he just smoked the guy. So you are going to see a lot of people that treat fighters like Wall Street stocks, you know what I mean? And it makes sense to bet Burns, but I honestly think Chimaev is going to knock him out.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Us pretty much, yeah.
I agree with you. I just think Burns has never been submitted, so my mindset was like, I said the chips are all in on him for me too. Like he's a finisher. He's just a dog. Like he's just a killer. He just has the killer mentality. He's like, I agree with you. Just like the eye test, everything. I agree with you. I just think it's more likely for him to finish him with strikes than submit him.
Yeah, it will have to be that Burns is badly hurt or extremely exhausted for Chimaev to submit him. If he submits Burns early, I would be shocked, honestly. That would be super impressive. The thing is, the guy just make him out, and he looks like a massive puncher. I know people are going to say there is not enough tape or opponents or whatever, but he put GM3, he put him out at middleweight with 1 punch. He was out before touching the ground, and people are going to say, okay, everybody hits GM3. Nobody put him out like that. He took monster shots from Muradov in his next fight, and he won. He took them, and he came back, and he won. Chimaev smoked him. And you can see he fought a really good guy before the UFC, Ali Skerov, who is now fighting in Khabib's promotion in Eagle FC. He put him out with an uppercut out cold before touching the ground. He looks like a massive puncher. And his trainer, Andreas Michael, I think his name is, he's the trainer of Alexander Gustafsson. You are probably familiar with the guy. He used to be a boxing trainer, actually. He used to train the Swedish Olympic team, and he said the guy hits like a heavyweight, like one of the biggest punchers he ever felt. And he looks like it. So I'm going to trust my eyes. I think if he touches Burns, who doesn't have the best chin, Burns is going to be in trouble very fast. The wild thing is, if the guy comes out and covers his price, grappling Burns and pounding him out, just controlling him on the mat, that would be super impressive. But there may be a situation where he just comes out hot, smokes Burns in 1 minute, and people are going to say, oh, we didn't learn anything. Well, at some point, you have to give credit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. The next fight, the co-main event. This one, not as wide a line, but another wide one, Aljamain Sterling versus Kyoto Yan. We were kind of saying we think maybe Sterling is going to put up a better fight than the line suggests. What do you think about that?
I have seen a lot of very delusional takes about this fight, honestly. No disrespect to anyone, but the line seems right to me. Like I said, Young should be a big favorite before the first fight, and people, I got all types of hate for saying that. I said Young should be minus 300, minus 400. I think he went out and proved that. He dominated the Sterling. The thing is, what can Sterling do differently to make the fight different? Because I see people saying, "Oh, Sterling won the first round, maybe the second one in the first fight, striking. So maybe if he comes out here more measured." It doesn't work like that. The only reason he won those rounds was because he was putting out insane output, like 150 punches, 200 punches, whatever it was, to keep Peter Yan at bay. At the end of his range with kicks, long punches, it wasn't like he was competing with Yan in the striking. He was just outworking the guy. And once Yan takes that away, makes the reads, gets inside, the fight is done. I think Sterling is pretty much submission or bust, probably early. But I don't know if he's going to come out hot grappling. I think he's going to lose either way, honestly. I don't think Peter Yan loses this fight more than once every 10 times. That sounds wild because I'm saying he should be minus 1,000, which sounds crazy, but that's my take. I think Peter Yan stops him late. I like doesn't go the distance at plus money or close to even. That's a pretty good bet, I think.
All right, that is a good bet because, Yan on the sportsbook right now is plus 120 via decision, suggests that he's plus 162 via TKO KO. Decent bet there.
I would rather take Peter Yan late round props than his TKO line. You know what I mean? He's not this massive puncher. He obviously has power, but when he really does damage is when he breaks down people.
True.
Yeah, that
All
was
right,
even
now
kinda
the
like
main event. Oh, go
And
ahead.
I was saying that was kind of like some of the Sandhagen fight. Like I think Sandhagen won maybe the first round. He looked good, and then he's just so durable. Like it's like the later it gets in the fight, he just gets stronger. Because I think he stays the same. He gets stronger, and the other guy just gets weaker and slower.
The guy is a monster. He really doesn't have a weakness. Like I have been saying for some time that I think he's the best pound for pound fighter in the sport. I just don't see how anyone is going to beat the guy over 5 rounds. You have to stop him. I mean, it's a fight. Anything can happen. You can get submitted, but I don't know how anyone outclasses him or takes 3 rounds of this guy over 5 rounds. The Sandhagen fight was a masterpiece. Same with the Jose Aldo fight, how he broke him down.
Yes, I forgot to bring that up. We talked about before. I think people aren't talking about that either. Like the way he just like destroyed Aldo, like that. I mean, that win's aging beautifully right now.
Yeah,
the run he's been on since that loss.
His cardio is insane.
Ridiculous.
I mean, could it be the best cardio in UFC? Maybe.
Up there.
And he
for
looks
sure.
like he could fight like a 12-round fight. If he wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who could do it with him, but if he wanted to fight for 12 rounds, he'd find a way for sure.
Dude's a monster.
Yeah, the guy's a gangster. Like you see the Jose Aldo fight, he broke him down and he was just in front of him. It wasn't like it was man to man, and Aldo is a gigantic bantamweight. You see the Jose Aldo versus Bolkanovsky fight at featherweight, and Bolkanovsky was like, "Oh shit, I am not stopping in front of this guy." Yan was right there and broke him down. Like Aldo was done after 15, 17 minutes. The fight was over essentially.
And now the main event, Alexander Volkanovsky, minus 770 on the Barstool Sportsbook against the Korean Zombie, plus 500. This is the widest line that we've talked about. What do you think about it?
This line is insane. I played Zombie big. I know this is kind of a hot take. Everybody's parlaying Volkanovsky. I think this is insane. Like, what are you doing? This is looking like boxing lines because every favorite is winning lately, I feel. But this line is straight up disrespectful. And you are all going to catch the heat because if Zombie comes out and gets smoked, they are going to be, they put on this guy that knows shit about fighting, giving out betting advice here. But yeah, I really like Zombie here. I'm picking him to win the fight, all odds aside. So it just seems like ridiculous to me. How is Bolkanovsky going to cover minus 800, minus 900 here? He has very little grappling upside, I feel. Zombie is the better all-around grappler. Volkanovsky can probably get takedowns if he really pursues them, but he doesn't want to do that, I think. I don't think he wants to play with Zombie on the ground. If Zombie takes him down or gets his back or gets on top of him, Volkanovsky is going to be in trouble fast. I feel like Volkanovsky has gone from criminally underrated to criminally overrated, and that's because of the Brian Ortega fight. Because Zombie lost to Ortega, you know? It was kind of an honest fight. Zombie got hit, clearly concussed, and Ortega just ran circles around him. And then the Ortega fight, Volkanovsky almost killed the guy. That was hilarious. Herb Dean, I think he had the over because he was like, okay, let's let this guy die here. Like Ortega was so fucking done. The footage when he was getting out of the arena was wild. They were carrying him, his girl, Tracy Cortez, and another guy. The guy was a carcass. He could have died. That was wild. I
mean, I think it was after the 3rd or 4th round where he was like, "Are you okay?" And he just wasn't responding.
Yeah, no.
He wasn't saying I'm good. He just was like, it was almost like he was like, his silence was like saying like, stop it, please.
Yes, exactly. He didn't want to say that. He knows he's picked up on the mics. It's he like was the body language. Yeah.
they were asking him about how many fingers, you know, the classic questions, and the guy was getting all of them wrong. And he was talking was talking with the doctor in Spanish, because I'm from Spain, I know Spanish, and they were talking like on the low. And Ortega was telling him, yeah, I'm fucked up, I cannot see, but I told you on the low, like don't sell me here. You know what I mean? It was wild. I don't know if the doctor was his friend or something. The footage is wild. And Head was like,
wild.
okay, this is a title fight. Go on. If you want to die here, then your decision, man.
And I'll give him credit because he like fought decently well after that too. But it was crazy. Just crazy that they let that fight go on.
Ortega can take a beating like a man. Credit to him. I think he's going to fuck up Jair. Like Jair is going to use him as a punching bag for 10 minutes, and he's still going to be there. And now what?
That's true. And one thing we got to tell you before we get out of here, and sorry to throw you under the bus, JackMac, but we just got to throw this take out there. Do you think Khamzat Chimaev could play wide receiver in the NFL? JackMac suggested that.
I even said, because we talked about the fights before, I said I'm all in on Chimaev, and JackMac said he thinks he'd play receiver in the NFL, and I said, hold on a second.
No, you could. Yeah, I think he'd be the wide receiver in the NFL. He would at least get a training camp invite.
But what if the elite speed that it like he's six like
speed.
His measurables are there. Like if he's 6'3",
fake thing you gotta see.
He's 6'3". If he wasn't cutting weight, he'd obviously be he'd be over 200 pounds for sure. Obviously,
he's Julio Jones, but from Russia. Like that's
Julio Jones. Like what are we?
He's Julio.
Julio Jones is like Julio Jones is one of the best.
No way, bro. Like he doesn't have a build to run. Have you seen?
Well, no, that's what I said. I said I've seen him jog and embedded. I was like, you think that guy can run a 4.40?
All right, maybe I didn't see him jog. I'll have to see him jog. All right, but like
because there's MMA athleticism. There's a certain like speed. Like speed kills.
Yeah, he's like dangerous in a 6 feet range. Not for a long run.
Like imagine him running past like a prime like Patrick Peterson. Like Peterson would be on him like a blanket.
Yeah.
He'd be bigger and stronger, but he wouldn't be able to get any separation. I love that we're legit like breaking down right now his like NFL acumen.
I mean, if he is lined up, like he'll drag someone to the ground immediately if he gets hold of someone. Also, maybe he's a defense guy.
Also, that's what I was thinking more maybe like a safety. Because I just see also like you see, for example, like wrestlers. You see wrestlers who can do like backflips and they can't catch a football to save their life. Like you can be a great athlete and have no hands.
I want to see him catch a football.
Catch a football, run a 40.
Now Magic.
If he runs 4.5 and he can catch well, I'll slide towards.
They have like Stephen Hill who played for the Jets. Remember him? The only thing he could do was run. He couldn't catch a football.
Yeah, but that's because he could run a 4.3.
Yeah. Well, I guess Khamzat can't run a 4.3. Who's the biggest bum on the card, Magic?
Oh, I didn't come prepared for this.
The bum of the week.
Bum of the week. Is it weeks?
The bum of the week.
I mean, there is no one
if you follow him on
really
Twitter,
bad,
he holds nothing back.
I mean, people think I'm disrespectful or anything. I'm just trying to make money. It's in UFC level terms. Who is the bum? You know what I mean? They are legit fighters.
We understand it. It's just
we
funny.
know he's not there.
I just think you're a funny guy.
I think it has to be like Wicks or Bandera maybe, but there are not people really bad in this card. If you some of the past cards this week's, that was real bad. That looked like LFA, like lesser promotions.
Well, are you buying the hype on Ian Garry?
I think I am betting him to finish. I think that's a good bet at plus money. Garry inside the distance because this is a blatant setup by the UFC. He's way faster, more powerful, and has a huge grappling edge in my opinion. You had it on today, right?
Yeah. You like Ian more than Paddy, right?
As a fighter, but not that much. Like, I think Ian is talented and all that, but the guy is talking a big game like, oh, it's going to be me and Chimaev in the future. That's bullshit, bro. Sorry to disappoint, but he's not going. I don't think he's going to be champion, but he can break the top 15 for sure. He's a talented fighter. I have seen him like pretty much all his career in Cage Warriors here. He's a good fighter, talented, but I don't think he has what it takes to be champion in the UFC. Maybe I'm wrong.
Saying he could break the top 15, I think is at least like you respect him clearly.
Yeah, he's a good fighter. He's just not the next Conor McGregor like he thinks he is.
Guess we'll have to see. All right, Magic. We appreciate you joining the show today. We'll probably have to get you back on in the future, and hopefully, I don't want to say hopefully because we might get Volkanovsky on next week, but hopefully that zombie bet is right because oh my god, you sprinkle a little bit on that. Who knows?
I hope so too.
What I would say before you leave, what are like your like best like any other plays you just see value in, anything like that before you go?
I think the wrong fighter is favored in Aspen Ladd versus Raquel Pennington. I think this is a huge market overcorrection because of Ladd's last fight was wild. She looked like she had seen a ghost or something, or like a relative had died. She was out there bouncing, not throwing anything. I was in shock. I think everyone was in shock, but this is a different fight. At 135, Ladd is a monster. Lesser people have got takedowns on Pennington, like Kianzad and Chia Song, who is a complete bum, took Pennington down. And if Aspen Ladd gets on top of you, you are in a world of pain. I think she's going to finish, actually.
Love that.
And you don't mind
Plus
Kay
money,
Hanson,
too.
right?
Yeah, I like Hanson here.
Even
she
though
should have a gross grappling edge. If she comes out and strikes this out, she should lose and get cut, and deserve so. You know what I mean? Because the path to victory is clear.
We were talking about her OnlyFans earlier.
Jack's a big fan of her OnlyFans.
No, I'm not
you were talking about her
subscribed. I'm not
OnlyFans.
subscribed. But we were she has a 50% deal right now, so.
It's kind of sad.
Did she buy an ad deal on this podcast?
She's 50% off.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
that
just
was-
plugging the shit out of her.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Alright.
kind of sad, but I get it. Like, female fighters don't make that much, a lot of them in the UFC, and they probably got a lot of sims, you know? They are probably making more from that than fighting, so I can't blame them. You have to pay
I
the
said
bills.
Jessica Andrade said she makes more, and she fought for a belt.
Yeah, but who the fuck is paying for
Apparently
Andrade's OnlyFans, man? You have to be sick.
Robbie's like, cut it
Come
off.
on, come on.
End the stream.
I said apparently a lot. I get.
Yeah,
from
yeah.
What she
I
says.
think, I
In the
think
stream.
everybody's beautiful, in some way. All right, Magic. We appreciate you for joining us. And
Thank you for
UFC
having me, man.
273 this Saturday. That was the Spinnin' Backfist MMA show for this week.